Patriots cornerback Jonathan Jones is here. Do you like the hat? What do you think of this thing?
Not my style, man.
I don't think it's mine either.
Well said.
I don't think it's mine
That's very
either.
diplomatic.
That is diplomatic.
Not my style. It's not for me. I can see why you like it.
Teach his own. Teach his own.
How's it going?
Going good.
Enjoying your week?
Enjoying it.
What do we got here? What do we got? Bounty paper towels?
Yeah, man.
That's
I like that.
That's chicken wings, right?
I mean, you need that on game day, don't you?
Yeah.
Clean up the mess. Clean up yourself.
Seems essential.
I'm going to tell you.
How you doing?
Doing good.
You look good.
Feeling good.
You feeling
Feels
good?
good. Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling
Long
good.
year, huh?
Yeah. A tough one. Tough one. But like I always said, next year. We want it next year.
Surprised coach doesn't have a job?
A little bit. A little bit. I think it's hard to pass up on someone like that, but it's just the nature of the beast.
How do you feel?
Jonathan Jones, by the way. So.
I said
don't know.
that.
Did you do some?
Yes.
Okay. My bad.
Patriots
whirlwind down
Patriots
there.
cornerback
Patriots
Jonathan
cornerback Jonathan Jones, unless he's someone else.
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
then. How do you feel about Jerod Mayo now being your head coach? Because obviously being on that side of the ball, you're familiar with him. You've worked with him.
Yeah, I think it adds some consistency of the organization. There's some things that are carry over, but he's definitely going to bring in a different modernization of it. So I definitely think he's going to put his own imprint on it.
What about DeMarcus Covington? Tell us something about him that fans don't know. I mean, I know he's been here for 7 years. He's learned through the system, but being a front seven guy, how do you feel he's going to develop as a coordinator?
I think it'll be good. Like I said, he's been here for a while, so he has that continuity of learning. He's took in a lot from coach, from Mayo, from a lot of guys, and I think he'll do a really good job of bringing that consistency and continuity, and at the same time putting his own spin on it.
You know, I heard Kendrick Bourne say yesterday about Mayo. He was saying, look, I have a lot of respect for Bill Belichick, but it was a different style of leadership, and Mayo brings a little more swag, a little something. How important is that, and how does that show up? You know, throughout the week.
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially with this younger generation coming in. I think they want to be related to, you know, and they'll go all out for you if you're related to. I think when I came in, it was more show up, do your job, and that worked. That worked for a while. You know, that worked for a very, very long time. But this generation, I don't think that works for him. So I think Mayo is in a space where he can connect with guys, this younger generation, but at the same time, he's a leader, and when he's in the room, guys listen to him.
What do you prefer? I mean, are you somebody who said, hey, it doesn't matter, or do you prefer one style over the other?
I think the beauty of me, I kind of grew up with both. You know, my dad's from that generation of, hey, I don't care about your feelings, just show up and do your job. Yeah. So I grew up with that, you know, so that doesn't faze me. And then I kind of understand this younger generation where that's not, you know, exactly how they was raised a lot. And so they definitely want that approachable aspect to it.
How important is, you know, playing a nickel position, then getting bumped out to corner, special teams, all that, as far as your development? And we've seen you come to full circle here over the years.
A lot. You know, I love to say I'm still a special team player because that's the core of the team. That's the core of if you can't play on special teams, you can't do anything else, you know, because that's just being an athlete. Like, if you can't run around and tackle, then how can you do that on defense? But, yeah, it's just been a good development for me, starting out, you know, playing a lot on special teams and then, you know, carving out a role on defense and then turning into one of the leaders in the locker room. It's definitely been a good journey.
We got to sign Duggar back?
Yeah, we have to. We have to, man. He's one of those special players. He loves the game, and he gives it all.
You said it was a long year, tough year, obviously. Wish you had more wins. When that happens, does that have you itching to get back at it? Right? The offseason can't come to an end soon enough because you want to get going and going in the right direction?
Definitely. I think it's just more that you want to get back out there because I know it was said, you know, over and over throughout the years, like we didn't have a sorry team. We had a terrible record. But, you know, there's games in it you're like, dang, this looks like a decent team. You know, they had a good drive there. They've stopped. They had a good, you know, defensive drives. And then you're like, they haven't put it all together, and that's what you want to come back in the offseason is get a group of guys that want to go out and consistently dominate.
It had been reported that the defense had become frustrated with the lack of offensive points being scored. Was that the case? Did that happen?
I feel like that's inevitable. Yeah, I feel like that's inevitable. If you're in a marriage and you're the only one putting in work and that's how you feel, eventually that's going to come out as frustration. If you think you're the only one picking up the kids, you're the only one doing
Feel that way in your marriage?
No.
No, you're good. He got the Ron Burton Award. He's a good guy here.
We're good there. No, it's literally that feeling of like if you wake up and you feel like consistently week in and week out you're the only one that's still showing up, there's going to start to develop some frustration.
And so, given that, have you been paying attention to some of the moves that they've made here with the coaching staff? Are you looking at college quarterbacks? Have you gone that far to say, hey, what will it take to keep us out of this situation next year?
No, in my years of being in the league, I've learned to control what you can control, and that's not in my aspect that I can control of who we play. I think once we get out there on the field and start training camp, I think then I can have more of an imprint on it, on the guys that we have out there. At that point, I think that's as much as I can control.
Do you think Mac Jones could be fixed?
I don't know if fix is the word. I think
I want to retract that. No, but it gives a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But you've been here for all 3 years. You saw him as a rookie. You guys went to the playoffs. It didn't work out in Buffalo, but you won 10 games that year. Then as the Matt Patricia situation with Joe Judge running the offense with him seemed like it made him go backwards to where I don't know what happened to the confidence he had in year one, and maybe it was let Jacoby go. And Jacoby was on our afternoon show, and he said it was $1 million that kept the difference for him potentially coming back.
Yeah.
There's a series of things I think that led to Mac where he is now.
Exactly. You can't just point to him as an individual, but I think I'm always a fan of teams sitting quarterbacks young. I think it's an important position that you get to sit back and develop as a game. And if you look at the teams, I mean, Green Bay, have they done it consistently? And, you look up and you're like, well, they don't have a quarterback problem. And it's like, well, they brought a guy in that they knew had the caliber, set him for a couple of years, and by the time it was his turn, he's made all his mistakes on the practice field, so no one got to judge him for it. No one got to see the dumb, mistakes that he made, during practice, because you just come in, you correct it, and then he gets better from that. Whereas when you throw him out there to the Wolves, the media is going to do what the media is supposed to do. That's your job, is to judge your performance. And so when you throw a guy out there young and the world's going to judge his performance, it's hard for him to keep that consistency.
You guys always played well against Kansas City.
Yeah.
That game plan was always great. You always got the job, and I know Tyreek's down in Miami, but you had to chase him around. And he never had the big plays against you. Why were your game plans so good at sort of keeping the point situation with Kansas City down?
I think that attributes to like what Bill loved to do. It was, we're going to take away what you love, and hopefully your second and third option can beat us. And we were so deep in those years of guys at cornerback position where at some point you look up, you had me, you had Gilmore, you had JC, you had Jason McCourty. Like, you had a group of guys that from top to bottom could just be out there and play. So I think that was beneficial. And at some point you're going to have to go man to man. You can't sit back in zone.
Can't let Kelsey go zone.
No, you can't.
It's over.
Yeah, they're too good, and he's going to find the holes, and they're going to get open. So at some point, you're going to have to knuckle up and go man to man.
You like them in this game?
I do, just because when you got this game comes down to quarterback, and when you got a quarterback like that at any given time you have the ball in his hand, like we once had a guy like that, you just
I remember. I bet you remember too. Hey,
who was that?
It's more fun calling 5 of these ones than doing this.
What was that guy's name? What was his name?
Speaking of the marriage, when you're in the second marriage, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Why?
Grass isn't always greener.
Why did I leave?
It's the truth, though.
I want to go back to her.
Yeah, so you have a guy like that, man. You roll out there on defense. I can remember times on defense we get the ball back, to the offense, and we're over there unbuckling our stuff. Like, just sit back and watch this. Like, that the game's won. And to have that confidence on defense, it brings a lot to a team.
Wow.
And Mahomes is just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, what if he loses to Purdy, though? Everybody's like, well, if Mahomes gets his third, man, he's really right there on Tom's heels. I'm like, go get some oranges. It's not even halftime.
Yeah. He's got a long way to go.
He's got a long way to go. Patriots cornerback Jonathan Jones. I had one more for you, and that is you mentioned having depth at corner. We didn't get to see a lot of Christian Gonzalez. We saw a month. But what does your team have in that young player?
Something special, man. Something special. He has the stature of the cornerback that you're looking for these days, but the quickness of the smaller guys like me. His quickness reminds me of me, but at the same time, being a 6 foot longer corner, man, he's something special.
You talk about Elliott Wolf, Matt Groh, and after the draft, I talked with Matt Groh, and we did some wrap-up stuff. He said, you're going to see it. It's going to translate out there when you watch his hips and how what you're talking about, that plant foot. And Jack Jones had that too.
Yeah.
Jack had the ability to plant and felt disrespected to get thrown on out there.
Yeah.
But Yeah, sky's the limit with Gonzalez. Reminds me of Gilmore.
Yeah, a lot, man.
A little more quickness, right?
Yeah, a little bit more quickness. I'm excited. You know, the sky's the limit for him, and I'm excited to see his career.
You got to get us get us 3 of these bounty jackets.
Nice.
That is a nice jacket.
Yeah,
They
That's
went all
smart.
out.
They give you
That's
paper
smart 'cause it's
towel.
stylish. There are no guys who wear it. It's stylish.
yeah, it looks good.
If it looked like Beatles' hat, you probably be like, nah, I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would
All right,
accept that marketing deal.
Still out on the hat. Maybe like a green one with the Bounty logo on it, right?
yeah.
No, all right.